Hello, welcome back to Parent Bites. My name is Mrs. Hills. I'm assistant head here at Maiden Early Chiltern Edge, and this week we delve into the thorny issue of smartphones and social media ahead of next week's half term. There was an article in The Guardian telling us that we are getting worse at relaxing, many of us not knowing how to fill our free time and ending up zoning out in front of one screen or another for hours before stumbling off to bed wondering where the time has gone. And it seems to be an increasing concern with a rise in the sale of adult colouring books and subscribers to the mindfulness app Headspace. So, how can we make the most out of our supposed rest week like half term? The same article suggests assigning family members the role of choosing relaxing activities for everyone to enjoy, whether it's baking cakes, going for a walk, playing a game of Monopoly. Although Monopoly was never very relaxing in my household. There are, by the way, a multitude of newer board games if you're interested. A few of my personal favourites are Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, Double, Port Royal, Rhino Hero, and I've put a link to a Mumsnet article in our Happy Half Term message that have a bunch of others as well. Anyway, the point being that this way everybody gets a bit of me time and you're not having to make all the decisions. Now, psychologists are increasingly encouraging mindfulness as a strategy for relaxing, whether this is breathing exercises or more mindful walk through nature, for instance, noticing all your senses as you go, what sounds your feet make as they strike the floor, or whether it's a more mindfulness approach to activities such as colouring in or knitting or another kind of calming craft. I found some cheap oil pastels and some exercises to learn how to use them, and it was much more therapeutic than I'd anticipated. Sometimes our teenagers need encouraging to explore new things or to remember the things that they enjoyed when they were younger. One thing that we are hearing a lot about is the impact of digital devices. With lockdown learning, this is an increasing issue, and we're keen to encourage everyone in our community to have some really quality off-screen time this half term. Did you know that on average, we swipe, tap and click our phones over 2,000 times a day? UK adults spend up to 8 hours on screens, more than we sleep, with 65% of those under the age of 35 first looking at their phones within 5 minutes of waking up, and 62% of UK adults saying they hate how much time they spend on their phone. The website Time to Log Off found that 2/3 of teenagers admit that they turn to their phone when they're bored, and almost as many use their phone as a crutch in social situations. They found that teenagers are increasingly feeling the pressure to meet certain criteria, such as getting a number of likes and other validating seeking methods. 60% of UK parents believe their child spends too much time on their phone. But phones are now a part of teenage social landscape, keeping in touch with their friends and even doing their schoolwork. And there are some positives of social media. Many teenagers do generally feel that they're more connected, they're more confident. However, there is a well-known link between phone addiction and depression. Heavy phone users being 5 times as likely to suffer depression. And 52% of school-age students saying social media makes them feel less confident about their appearance and their lives. There have also been studies linking high levels of phone use to increased scores of narcissism. And a study has shown that teenagers who text compulsively have a lot in common with compulsive gamblers. Psychiatrists have issued warnings over the link between depression and a video game addiction, with MRI scans revealing potential damage caused to young brains, in fact, in a similar way to the impact of an opioid addiction on the brain. Phone affects our sleep too. See last week's Parent Bites for more information on that one. A recent study showed that teenagers with screen time of more than 4 hours a day were 3.5 times more likely to get poor sleep. They were also 49% likelier to need more than an hour to fall asleep. We generally think we're pretty good at multitasking, and our teenagers will insist they are. But actually, the average human attention span has declined significantly since smartphones have existed, as have our skills in critical thinking and analysis. And in fact, multitasking doesn't actually work. Our brain simply doesn't work that way. Instead, we're just interrupting our focus to see the other thing. Studies show that looking at our phones during a task makes us 22% less effective. And over time, it weakens our brain's anterior cingulate cortex, which is involved in our high-level information and emotion processing. And for our teenagers, there's a link between excessive social media use and poor academic performance. So when does it all become too much? China has opened 300 teenage boot camps which impose a strict digital detox to deal with increasing problems of teen internet addiction and computer addiction. But in 2012, a study from the University of Gothenburg found that there is a sweet spot for smartphone use, which for teenagers, it appears to be an hour and 57 minutes a day. And when should we be concerned? Well, signs of phone addiction can include regular switching between multiple devices, programs, apps, extreme reactions when separated from their device, impatience, irritability, restlessness, and an inability to focus in school when separated from their phone, sleep disturbances, and increasing social challenges. So, can anything be done? Well, American research on 18-year-olds has found that those parted from their phones wrote down more, recalled more, and scored a grade and a half higher in multiple choice tests than those who were still clutching them. Similarly, a UCLA study found that preteens who were deprived of their screens for 5 days through a digital detox were in fact much better at reading people's emotions and using their non-verbal skills than children who continued using screens. So it's clearly something we should be striving for. Research suggests that monitoring and adapting use can be more successful than taking the phone away completely. There are some Android and Apple apps that can help you remotely monitor phone and app usage, to set screen time limits, and even lock devices. Additionally, providing a good example of healthy phone usage is important. We should be mindful of our own phone habits too. So, a digital detox? Well, the thought of a full-blown digital detox can be quite daunting. All that FOMO, that fear of missing out. But it turns out that small steps and for limited periods of logging off can in fact benefit you as much as a week-long digital detox. There are some simple steps to help you make some changes. It's time to log off. Suggest 5-2 diet with 2 days of the week phone-free. Or you could simply assign phone-free hours. This would be particularly useful an hour before bed, but also might be something to do during daylight hours to encourage your children to go outdoors. Top tips include moving. Get going, do some form of exercise to keep you busy. Dig out your camera so there's no excuse for reaching for your phone. Enlist support. Tell everyone that you're doing it. Encourage them to join in. Make it a family fair, perhaps, with a competitive edge if that's for you. And if you want to continue this into term time, a couple more tips. Plan the digital diet at the weekend when there's less digital temptation. And also buy an alarm clock so that you can banish the phone from the bedroom. Plus, rather than making grand resolutions, did you know that over 80% of New Year's resolutions fail? Try tying your tech habits to your routine. For example, picking up your phone for the first time after you've washed up after breakfast. Or if you'll lock up at a certain time each night, why not lock and turn your phone off at the same time? Or make it a little more playful. Try making the change. As we know, trying to make changes like this can be stressful. So set up a competition in your house to see who can use the social media the least in the next week. Or a point-based system, 10 points for getting to breakfast without your phone, 5 for watching an episode on Netflix without it, and then maybe a reward for the first in the family to 100. We wanted to leave you with some off-screen suggestions for this coming week to help you punctuate the days and to add a little something special for half term. So maybe on Monday, getting crafty, bit of junk modelling or dust off the camera. Don't forget there's a Holocaust Memorial Day photo competition you can join in, or check out the Pause Day activities for art challenges to get involved with. Now, Tuesday is, of course, Pancake Day. Look at our Pause Day resources for the recipe and for some creative challenges too. Wednesday is National Random Acts of Kindness Day. Try to get your children to do something for the neighbour, for a loved one, maybe a phone call, or even a local litter pick. Thursday, maybe a day for getting active, that mindful nature walk. Don't forget to log your distance on our house competition. And maybe Friday, a bake-off day, a theme. And you could even make it into a family Zoom call so that everybody can get together. So that just leaves me to say, thanks for watching. As always, get in touch if you have any suggestions for a topic, and have a wonderful, restful break from all of us here at Made in Early Chiltern Edge. Thanks.